Tonight on Patriots Unfiltered on TV, finding a way, the Patriots shake off a sluggish start to blow out the Browns at Gillette. Fighting through adversity, Drake Maye has a nearly perfect second half against the toughest defense he's faced this year. Can the Patriots make it 6 in a row against Atlanta when the Falcons come to Foxborough? And in a league where no team is a clear number one, would the Patriots be able to make some noise in the playoffs?
Patriots Unfiltered on TV is brought to you by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
Joe across the middle, intercepted. Here comes Spillane to the 30, 25-20. Spillane 15-10, hurdles a man and lands at the 5.
In a game where the Browns' defense was touted, it was the Patriots' D that turned a rock fight into a rout. Haunted and harassed by Myles Garrett, Drake Maye used his arm and legs in a sizzling second-half performance. Hello again, everyone. I'm Alex Francisco, and this is Patriots Unfiltered on TV. The 32-13 win was New England's 5th consecutive victory, but why was this one different? Let's huddle up now with Paul Perillo and Mike Dussault. The Patriots officially own the NFL's longest win streak after a victory against the Cleveland Browns, and despite the Cleveland's defense and Myles Garrett, the Patriots put up 32 points against one of the league's best defenses. So, Paul and Mike, that feels like a good place to start because I know there was a safety towards the end of the game, but they scored 30 points, just the offense.
Yeah, especially after the slow start. I think that's what we were waiting for, see how this offense matches up against, a pretty good defense, the best defense they've faced so far this season. And then that third quarter started and they didn't look back. It was bombs away.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm going to say Drake Maye was terrific yet again. In light of all the pressure he faced from Myles Garrett, I think it was even more impressive that he played as well as he did. However, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach to this game. I actually thought the defense was the unit that was better in this game and more responsible for the win. The defense completely shut down Dillon Gabriel and the Browns. They could not run the ball. They couldn't hold on to the ball at all. That allowed the Patriots offense to get its footing and then take off in the second half. So I want to, credit the defense for really turning this game around.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys both mentioned Drake Maye was feeling the pressure, 6 sacks. Despite that, how do you think he looked?
I mean, he maintains his poise, and that's something that sometimes you see young quarterbacks, they get sacked a couple times, their clock starts to hurry up, they look off for the rest of the game. And these are the kind of games, especially as these defenses get better, they're going to get some hits on you, they're going to have some good plays to be able to weather that storm, and then you stick around in the third quarter, then it starts opening up a little bit.
Yeah, the resilience, again, for a kid that's so young to be able to just immediately put a punt behind him, put a sack behind him right away. He's dealing with a lot of stuff around him. But it doesn't matter, and the accuracy downfield is still the thing that stands out to me the most. And even with all that pressure, he's moving around, he's stepping up, he's finding some running lanes at times when he needs to, and then, again, just dropping another touchdown pass down 39 yards to Kayshon Boutte. I think he's been about as close to perfect as you can get, especially for a young guy. He's been just so impressive.
I know Myles Garrett is a future Hall of Famer. I know the Browns have a great defense, but did the O-line kind of get exposed a little, particularly the rookies?
Well, I think they're hanging on right now, and look, he expected some struggles with the rookies on the left side of the line, and that's a very good defensive line. I think now you're starting to find yourself, is this offensive line going to be something that holds them back from their playoff aspirations or maybe making a playoff run? I do have hope, though, that young guys are going to continue to improve and building off of an experience going against somebody like Myles Garrett.
I'm starting to wonder if the difference between last year and this year is more just about Drake Maye. I think Josh McDaniels and the offensive coaching staff have done a nice job of limiting the amount of dropbacks. It's very rare that Maye has been asked to drop back more than 30 times in a game, and yet he's still up there among the league leaders in time sacked. And that's not counting all the times that Drake Maye sort of gets himself out of trouble with his mobility. Now, I'm sure he's run into some sacks, Mike, to be fair to the offensive line, but I'm starting to wonder if the improvement that we've seen from the offensive line from last year to this year is more about Maye's improvement than anything else.
I know he had a really unfortunate late fumble in the game, but they got Travion Henderson going in the running game. fantasy owners rejoice. What did you guys think of just those splashes we saw from the rookie?
I mean, a little return to what we saw this summer. How about?
Yeah, well, you get him to the edges. And I thought that was a nice wrinkle that Josh McDaniels, introduced this week. And I thought he looked more like that decisive runner, not looking for contact, looking to avoid it. He had at least 3 runs of better than 10 yards in that game, including a 27-yarder. So, yeah, nice to see a little bit of a coming out party for the rookie.
New England came out of the break with a really nice 8-play drive. We saw some really fun wrinkles from Josh McDaniels game planning there. What adjustments do you think he and the offensive coaching staff made at the break?
Yeah, a little trip plays. I mean, we've been talking about that. Josh has always kind of had those in his bags, and this is, I think we're starting to see those come to light a little bit, maybe using the Browns' aggressiveness, trying to use it against them. Had a nice double pass where you got Mac Hollins there. I know, Paul, you didn't love Drake Maye getting hit, though.
I didn't like the hit, but everything you're saying is 100% correct. I thought that got the Browns sort of going side to side a little bit instead of just getting upfield after Drake Maye. Coming out of the second half, especially, McDaniels, as our pal Evan likes to say, McDaniels was in his bag, Alex.
In his bag, yeah.
With all his different offensive wrinkles. I thought it was really impressive.
I know you guys are itching to talk about the defense. We previewed this game and said it's going to be really important to keep the Browns offense off the field. The defense really needs to shut them down. I think they took care of business. What do you think were some factors in making that happen?
I mean, the run defense, let's just start there. I mean, that's just, it's been such a strength for this team, and I don't want to say skeptical. I just want to, make sure we're seeing it against a wide variety of opponents and you really believe in it. And, not that this Cleveland run game with Quinshon Judkins was anything elite or special, but still pretty solid. And, of course, the first drive, you just kind of, whoa, that was weird. 6 plays right down the field again. And then they never scored again, at least in meaningful time.
This was the best performance, I thought, by the defense in terms of making one of these limited offenses look limited. They took away Judkins, 9 carries, 19 yards. He was a non-factor, and Dylan Gabriel just didn't have enough in terms of weapons to put any pressure on the Patriots. They dominated.
No, absolutely. I mean, and I want to call out the Jalen Hawkins pick. That was one of the most impressive interceptions I've seen all season, for sure, one-handed. You mentioned Marcus Jones just been balling this season. I thought Christian Gonzalez really looked like himself again. Spillane had a nice game. It feels like it's kind of coming together slowly but surely for this defense.
No, I like that. I hope so. I think you're totally right with Marcus Jones. I mean, Paul mentioned him too. Let's give him some more praise. We always talk about him as a punt returner, but him as a cornerback, I mean, he has been in guys' pockets consistently, defending passes. He gives up a couple, he bounces right back. He's got the speed to stick with guys. So great season for him. Really happy for Jalen Hawkins. He's had a couple turnovers taken away from him due to penalty, and now he goes out there and just makes that totally dynamic, diving, one-handed catch. So it does feel a little bit like the secondary is starting to come into form a little bit. Like you said, Gonzalez gets a few games under his belt. He's starting to pick up as well.
Still to come on Patriots Unfiltered on TV. Can the Pats win their 3rd game against the NFC South? We'll preview the face-off with the Falcons. Fred Kirsch on the development of Christian Gonzalez. With the Pats on the rise, Trash Talk looks at who the league's dominant teams are and where the Pats stand. And I'll go one-on-one with Patriots safety Jalen Hawkins.
Patriots Unfiltered on TV is brought to you by Cross Insurance, official insurance broker of the New England Patriots, and by Sports Illustrated Tickets. 50 million sports, concerts, and theater tickets. Same seats, better prices. Fans deserve better.
You're watching Patriots Unfiltered on TV.
What's up, everybody? It's Evan Lazar. It's the Week 9 film room. Patriots Falcons on Sunday. I want to talk a little bit about this Falcons defense. Really stingy defense in terms of giving up big plays down the field. They are the 2nd best defense in the NFL at limiting explosives. And we know Drake Maye is going to want to throw the ball down the field. So how do the Patriots go about doing that? Well, the one thing I see a lot with this Falcons defense is you're going to get a lot of quarters coverage, meaning these 4 players in the deep part of the field are going to play zones down the field across the board. And the one thing I want to highlight as we draw out the routes here as well, this deep post and this crosser from the tight end, I want to highlight this safety right there because it looks like that safety is inside help for the corner on the outside. But he's actually in what's called a poach technique, which means he's got his eyes to that side of the formation looking for this crossing route. So as we roll the play a little bit here, you're going to see this post at the bottom, pause it right there. That safety is now coming up to play this crosser, and that's going to leave the corner here on the outside, one-on-one on the post with nobody inside of him. Josh Allen sees it, throws a bomb down the field to Josh Palmer, and they have a big play. So the Falcons defense, they don't give up a lot of big plays, but if you can get them in that poach coverage, you can hit those posts down the field, maybe to Kayshon Boutte. We'll see that on Sunday with the Patriots and the Falcons. I'm Evan Lazar.
The Patriots are back home again in Week 9, where they'll look to secure their 6th straight victory against the Atlanta Falcons. And unfortunately for Atlanta, banged up and down bad after a big loss to Miami. I think a red-hot team like New England could not come at a worse time for them, especially Halloween weekend. Very scary for them, guys.
I know. Well, I think they need Michael Penix back. They need Drake London back. That was the biggest takeaway from me from that Miami game last weekend. They just couldn't move the ball. They couldn't string anything really together on offense. They've shown glimpses of it this year, various times with when they had those guys in, and Bijan Robinson is running well. I mean, you knock off Buffalo, no small feat, but at the same time, you can just see the step back that they've taken on offense, and both sides of the ball right now are kind of trending downward. They're desperate to find a way to stop it on both sides.
Yeah, and Penix was up and down, like Mike said. Even when he was healthy, there were some games that they just didn't look right, and they have some weapons. But then Kirk Cousins steps in, and you see right away why he lost his job last year late in the season. Bijan Robinson is as talented as any back in football. He had like 1 yard in the first quarter. So they should have weapons to be able to move the ball and put points on the board, but they haven't.
They have good skill players. I mean, Bijan Robinson, would that be a good test for the Patriots' run defense?
Bijan's probably the best back that they've seen, so it'll be a good test for the run defense. But, again, similar formula to last week against the Browns. If you're able to shut him down, put the pressure on Kirk Cousins or Penix, whoever it might be, London and Kyle Pitts, those are the two big receivers to watch out for. So I do think Pitts presents some challenges. Patriots, still continue to give us some touchdowns to tight ends last week against the Browns, so it's a matchup that will be interesting.
This is a much better test, I think, for the Patriots defense than anything really they've seen since Buffalo. Bijan Robinson is a different caliber back than what they've seen. Not just as a runner, but as a receiver, too. He'll put some stress on those linebackers. This will be a big week for Robert Spillane and those guys to make sure that they're on their assignments and tackling well in space, because he will test you.
Prior to Miami, I think Atlanta's defense had fared pretty well against the pass. I know they were without Zach Harrison last week, but they made Tua Tagovailoa look like he's not struggled at all this year. So what was kind of going on there?
Yeah, there's not a lot of star power on this defense, and I think that they've had, pockets of production similar to the offense. Interesting pieces, but you got to think with the way that Drake Maye is playing right now, they better play out of their mind to try to stop this kid.
The Falcons, to me, are an enigma. I just watch them at times, and they've been in the national window a couple of times, and, they played Minnesota early in the year. They dominated the Vikings in that game. Then they play a banged-up Niners team, a month later, and they look like they couldn't get out of their own way. So you're just like, which team is the real team? They're 3-4. They probably deserve to be 3-4, but they're capable of playing with, I think, whoever you want to consider the better teams in the league, but they're also capable of losing to teams like Carolina and Miami. So there are no easy,
not really just
no easy
moving,
steps.
Getting pumped.
No, they got boat raced, as the kids like to say.
Boat race, okay.
Twice.
I like another phrase, but there's profanity, so we'll leave that. But then they beat the Bills and the Vikings and just a strange situation. So.
Yeah, I'd say just real quick, Alex, like the big part to me, they're a different team at home in a dome in Atlanta than up here in New England. I think that that's a significant part of it, especially with the Patriots starting to really collect some energy. We felt the energy in the building last week, so I think the place where they're playing right now is significant.
I'm now joined in the studio by Patriots safety Jalen Hawkins. J-Hawk, the ball hawk. You had one of the more ridiculous interceptions I've seen all season. One-handed. It looked like the receiver's hand was in your face. Like, how did you manage to make that play?
Oh, man, that was crazy. Honestly, that was just one of those plays that I can't really explain, but I know that my focus and vision was on the ball. I seen him throw it. I was looking up, and then the ball hung so for a long time, I just kept flipping my hips. And then when it came down, I just looked it all the way in, and then I tried to go with two, ended up going with one, and then came down with it. And then when I got up, I was like, oh, okay, let's run. Let's try to score, I guess I was tagged down, but it was a cool thing though.
And then you ran it all the way back
Yeah.
and gave it to your dad, who was on the opposite end zone.
Yeah, I told him pregame, if I get an interception, I'm gonna hand you the ball. You're gonna be in the out rounds. I'm gonna give that to you. So it was cool.
You signed here last season, and then now you've emerged as a starter here. When you kind of reflect on your journey, what are some of the things you think about?
I always think about God, staying with Christ, you know, staying the course and enjoying the process, and through that process, loving who you become. You know, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, and to keep going, and it's a growth mindset.
Your teammate Marcus Jones said after the game that he sees you playing with notable confidence this year.
Preparing as hard as I can, working as hard as I can, so that way I feel confident, you know, when I'm out there. And also too, gelling with the guys, you know, so they can feel confident with me out there. I can feel confident with them. You know, the chemistry part is important, and with the team.
There are some things you guys have kind of done to build that confidence with each other and build that chemistry.
Every Tuesday or off days, we watch extra film together, bring Chick-fil-A, we try to do outings, we just had the Halloween party, stuff like that, man. Just trying to hang out outside of the building. We go to dinners and stuff like that.
We have Salute to Service Month coming up. You're going to be repping United Sports Abroad for My Cause, My Cleats this year.
It's a cause for students whose parents are in the Marine Corps who get reported in different countries, and you know they want to continue to play football or sports that are not as popular in those countries or those regions. So it's a cause to that, to provide, you know, like camps, football camps, different teachings and stuff like that to those kids out there, or try to provide that sport in that country.
Bring it back to football, looking ahead to this weekend. Feels like it's gelling for you guys though, especially the last couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. We just try to outdo, you know, the past, you know, outdo the previous week, you know, and try not to get complacent, and try to work harder and just get better, you know. Sky's the limit, you know, so that continuous growth mindset will only help us out, so.
Well, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate you.
We will be back with more Patriots Unfiltered on TV after the break.
Patriots Unfiltered on TV is brought to you by Cross Insurance, official insurance broker of the New England Patriots, and by Sports Illustrated Tickets, 50 million sports, concerts, and theater tickets. Same seats, better prices. Fans deserve better.
You're watching Patriots Unfiltered on TV.
When Christian Gonzalez comes to mind, most people think of a fluid athlete with shutdown corner capability. But there's another aspect to Gonzalez's game that gets overlooked and probably underappreciated. That's his physicality. Gonzalez is a sure tackler, not afraid to get dirty close to the line. He's already got 17 solo tackles in 5 games. Teams tend to stay away from Gonzo, but when plays do come his way, there's rarely any yards after catch. We saw this last Sunday against the Browns a few times. Quick to the play, Gonzalez made sure to bring his man down with little or no damage. It was also a good indication that he's coming back into shape after missing the first 3 games with a bad hamstring. Again, we think of the finesse that Gonzalez puts on display when he's out there, but it's worth the reminder that he can be as hard-nosed a football player as anybody else when called upon.
It has been an incredible turnaround year for the Patriots. So far. Only one team has a better record than the Patriots in the AFC. So in a league where no team seems dominant, what would it take for the Pats to make the playoffs and possibly have a deep run? Paul Perillo and Mike Dussault look into the future in this week's Trash Talk.
Playoffs? We are talking playoffs. That's right, folks. Patriots have won 5 in a row. They're still sitting atop the AFC East. According to FTN Fantasy, they've got an 83% chance to make the playoffs. So, Paul, it seems like the Patriots are headed for the postseason. My question now, though, is can they get there? Can they make some noise once they get there?
They absolutely can, but you know, just as long as we get it confirmed by something called FTN Fantasy, now I feel really good about it.
There you go.
But here's what I feel the best about, Mike, and it's not just how the Patriots and Drake Maye specifically are playing, but it's how everyone else is playing. That's what gives me hope for doing damage when they actually get there. I think this is wide open. I think there are some good teams in football. I think Kansas City is starting to resemble themselves a little bit more. But, you know, Buffalo will be tough. Why not the Patriots? Why shouldn't they expect to go there? You know, I think right now people in Indianapolis are probably saying, why not the Colts? at 7-1, best record in football. It's wide open.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you 2 things I feel good about and 2 things I might cause for concern on both sides of the ball. First one, Drake Maye, Paul. He's playing at MVP level, and I think that kind of, that levels it all off for me. If you got a quarterback who's playing at that level, I also say the run defense on the defensive side of the ball, where that travels. In the winter, you got to be able to stop the run. Now, my concerns, though, pass protection. We see Drake take a lot of hits. We've seen some muddy pockets. He's handled it well, but can that continue against some of these better playoff teams? And on the defensive side, the pass defense. They haven't really faced an elite passer in a while. Josh Allen a couple weeks ago, but still, those are my 2 areas that I think they're going to have to be a little bit better in, especially against these better teams as the playoffs come rolling out.
It's not their fault that they haven't had very many, other, severe tests. I do wonder what the defense will look like against a more well-balanced offense, and certainly with a better passing game, because they really haven't seen any beyond Josh Allen. But again, I'm going to fall back on the way that Drake Maye is playing. The offense is moving the ball, and they're finding ways to score points. Drake Maye is giving them a chance every week, and he will give them a chance in the playoffs, as long as the Patriots can be relatively healthy when they get there.
Well, the Patriots keep the win streak rolling towards the playoffs.
Not getting ahead of myself at all.
Find out in predictions after the break.
Now back to Patriots Unfiltered on TV.
This Sunday will be the 17th meeting between the Patriots and Falcons, and of course, that includes a very infamous comeback Super Bowl victory. Mike Dussault's claim to fame, you could say.
Do you have any shirts for that, Mike?
We'll save those for next week. Okay, we don't want to jinx any here.
The Sharps have the Patriots at 4.5-point favorites at home. A little disrespectful in my opinion. The over and under for this game is 45.5. Paul Perillo, we're starting with you.
Oh.
Will the Patriots become 7-2 on the season?
They will,
Ooh.
and I believe it's going to be fairly easy. But especially if Penix can't go, I like the Patriots 30-17. I think the offense continues to roll.
Yeah.
I like what Paul's saying. I feel similarly. It's hard to get a beat on this Falcons team. Who's going to show up? But I like the Patriots. Similar score, maybe not quite as high. I'm going to say Patriots 27-13.
Okay. I'm with it. Put up 32 points against a great defense in the Browns. I think maybe I'm going to be a little delusional, but I want to see this keep going. Patriots 33, Falcons, I'm going to give them 17.
Ooh, all right.
That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered on TV. As always, you can catch us on Patriots Unfiltered every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Patriots.com from noon to 2 p.m. For Paul Perillo and Mike Dussault, I'm Alex Francisco. We'll see you next week.